The civil war between Rayner, our Ange, and Rachel from accounts, our failed sobbing Chancellor, has ratcheted up a notch, with the two said to be at war. And they are both embattled today because of major breaking stories which prove that their political positions are precarious at best. First, Britain heading for a recession under Reeves as the economy contracted by 0.1%. That bucks all expectations and shows that her big spending, high tax approach is broken. Then Rayner has been booted out of the Unite Union. The lefties are turning on her now, which isn't going to make her happy at all. But of course, there's a bigger game plan here. Both Rayner and Reeves know that slippery Starmer is finished. There is no way that this broken Prime Minister is going to end up leading Labour into the next election. So they are at each other's throats, and that is why Angela Rayner was sitting there so coldly as Reeves sobbed and PMQs last week, because she was the cause. She was the reason for the sobbing. But there is new reporting on this from the Daily Telegraph today, which I will take you through. Angela Rayner is taking on Rachel Reeves and she is winning. The headline says Deputy PM may be on manoeuvres to prevent the Chancellor becoming Starmer's successor. And the newspaper, Tony Diver, reports their joint appearance before the Parliamentary Labour Party on Monday was not enough to put chatter to bed. I thought it was a slightly false display of unity, said one MP who watched the meeting unfold. It didn't feel completely normal. A minister in the room added it was very awkward and flat. No one was really listening. It is possible or even likely that the assembled MPs were thinking about someone else. Ms. Rayner's leadership ambitions. The Deputy Prime Minister has been curiously active with Bankbeach colleagues in recent weeks, even for a Cabinet Minister roped in to quell the welfare rebellion. Some on the Labour benches believe she is now on leadership manoeuvres to prevent Ms. Reeves becoming the natural successor as Prime Minister. It's not going to be a simple handover to Rachel if Keir was to go, said one Labour MP. It has been noticed by a lot of people that Angela has been in touch with them. That's taken to have a particular meaning when we have a government that is struggling. It is with that in mind that Sir Keir Starmer has summoned the Cabinet for an away day when ministers will be sent to an unknown central London location to digest the events of the last few weeks. All is not well on the government front bench. Ms. Rayner, who declared a year before polling day that she was a socialist, is alone in the cabinet as a representative of the Labour left. If a leadership election was held, there are few who doubt she would secure the support of the Socialist Campaign Group, the hard left faction of the parliamentary party that provided the bulk of the foot soldiers in the fight against the recent benefit cuts. There will always be that institutional friction, but they are just conducting their roles as professionals and there's nothing personal to it, a source close to both said. Nonetheless, it is understood there have been few conversations between Rayner and Reeves on tax policy since the memo was leaked, and there is talk that the government's recent decision to leave out major details from pieces of new legislation is because of fears of division between the two women in cabinet. Big news! Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may. There is no love lost between them, said one longtime political ally of Ms. Rayner, who said she would see Rachel as one of her opponents for being leader. Rayner's supporters say she is a more typical Labour politician than her cabinet colleagues and has her own political philosophy about governing that occasionally feels lacking from Ms. Reeves and Sir Keir. Neither Rachel nor Keir are really big thinkers, said one Labour source who has worked with them. It's not like the days of Tony and Gordon when they would thrash out big ideas together. Now, let me tell you, from everything I've been reporting, that piece is actually understated. So let me just give you the translation, okay, that hasn't gone through that MSM factory. Reeves and Rayner despise each other. Rayner had been bullying Reeves, hence her breakdown in cabinet, and there is zero chance. This is now fantasy politics suggests that there is any way that that woman replaces Starmer. It's going to be Rayner, which is why it's so interesting that the Unite Union has today pulled its support. But far more serious, actually, than the intra-politics of Labour is the complete catastrophic state of our economy. Now, Ruth Davidson pointed something out very good today. She wrote, if Rachel Reeves thought a 0.1% contraction of the economy was grounds for an emergency budget for a Tory Chancellor, presumably we can expect her to bring one to the House on Monday. And that is because, look at this former post from Rachel Reeves, where she wrote, GDP figures see dramatic drop to 0.1% in March. This was, of course, under a Tory government. This adds to the worries families already face from the cost of living crisis. If the PM and Cabinet come back from their away day in Staffordshire today with anything less than an emergency budget, they would have failed. And trust me, the UK is in trouble under both Reeves and Rayner. Rob Moore, host of the Disruptors podcast, who's here with me today, posted on X, the UK is on the verge of bankruptcy. National debt has hit £2.7 trillion, almost 100% of GDP. That means the country owes as much as it earns. That kind of debt fuels inflation, weakens your savings, and makes you poorer. And there's only one thing the government will do next: raise taxes. Why are people who've never run a business in charge of the economy? Rob, I mean, I find it absolutely fascinating that Reeves and Rayner are engaging in what amounts to a bitch fight when our economy is literally burning to the ground.
Yeah, they really underplay this, Dan. So, they say things like, oh, it's disappointing when you have an economic shrink again. So that's 2 months in a row, by the way, and that starts to form a pattern or a trajectory. But the Bank of England have halved their growth forecast based on how Labour have performed. Disposable income is down. Unemployment is up. I can't see any growth plans in any of their policies or anything that they're putting out into the media. All I can see is more taxes, more spending. What did they pledge? Another nearly 30 billion for the NHS. We've got to get up to 5% spending for defence, which we probably need to do now. So that those two probably could be 50, 60 billion. Where's that going to come from? There's going to be more tax rises in October. More millionaires are going to leave, which means more ordinary working people are going to be paying even more tax. And we're at record taxes already, I think. I don't even know if the taxes were higher in the late 1970s, but we're nearly back there. So where's the good news? It's all a complete mess.
But first, if you're anything like me, you've spent so much time trying to find the perfect skincare treatments for your face, only to realise you've been neglecting the skin on your neck. But as I've got older, I know that's a massive oversight because the neck is on display all the time, yet lots of folk just treat it as an afterthought in their routine. And I know I'd fallen into that trap. And what's been interesting actually is since starting this campaign with Go Pure, I've spoken to many in our Outspoken audience, many women who tell me that they know the skin on their neck is thinner, more delicate and less oily than facial skin, and they need specialized care, but they just don't know where to get it from. And so I have to say, that is why Go Pure is the answer. It is an absolutely beautiful product. This is the Go Pure Tighten and Lift Neck Cream, and it's transforming the lives and necks of women and some men too, all across the globe. So let me tell you about this gorgeous product because I saw a noticeable difference within just weeks. Oh, and by the way, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure if you use the code DAN, that's DAN, at checkout today. So just head to gopure.com/Dan, use code DAN, and you're all set. But what's so amazing about Go Pure is that its proprietary firming complex is actually designed to visibly firm and smooth the skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. In a consumer study, 100% of users said their skin looked more supple, 97% noticed a firmer appearance. Indeed, Go Pure's full line of science-backed skin and body care have delivered for over 100,000 real women with real results. It's dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, plus with over 1 million jars sold, I don't think you can say this is a beauty secret anymore, right? Because it's not a secret, if you get what I'm saying. So, tighten, lift, and restore elasticity in your neck because your skincare routine shouldn't stop at your jawline. And for that limited time, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure using the code DAN, D-A-N, at checkout. Just head to gopure.com/Dan, use the code DAN, and you are all set. Quick favor too, after you buy, when they ask you where you heard about Go Pure, make sure you tell them it was after watching Outspoken. But now, back to the show. And what do you make of the fact that Rayner now seems to be running the government? So effectively, Starmer and Reeves, who describe themselves more as social democrats rather than hardcore socialists, have been overruled. And even though she's not officially prime minister, as deputy PM, she's setting the agenda.
Well, that worries me a lot, Dan, because
Yeah.
taxes are going up as it is. And, Rayner likes things like wealth taxes, which,
Yes.
forget the fact that it's rich people. It's how you stifle the growth of companies and wealthy people when you implement a wealth tax because of how complicated it is. So I think she's very left at Angela Rayner. And, Rachel Reeves, to me, is not an entrepreneur. She's not a business person. That's why she's called Rachel from accounts. But she's not as far left as Rayner. And I think it would be the worst thing for the country if she took over. I really do.
And the thing is, she will take over. She will take over if Starmer goes, because Labour is currently more concerned, Rob, about it being outflanked on the left. There's this new Islamist party that has been formed by Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. I've heard that they're considering the name Hope UK, but actually lots of people would say it should be called Hopeless UK. But that means that Labour is going to be really worried about losing a lot of its Islam voters, a lot of its hard left voters. And quite significant today, Rob, that the Unite Union has suspended Angela Rayner and said that it is reviewing its entire relationship with the Labour Party. Because, Labour has always been bankrolled by the unions. And so if the unions withdraw support of Labour, potentially move over to this Corbyn and Sultana outfit, that also really means, I think, that Labour is going to have to do something to get them back. What do? They'll have to move to the left. In the meantime, our economy is collapsing. So, but I just think that's the political reality, if you see what I mean. Like, people in the MSM keep talking about Wes Streeting being the next leader of the Labour Party. Trust me, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because it's the Labour members and the unions that decide the next leader, and they want to move to the left.
Yeah, I saw this news and I did think it looked bad for Labour. It reeks of division within their own party, which obviously is not good. They do donate a lot of money, Unite, to Labour, so that's obviously not good either. And yeah, there's a lot of division within this party. It's kind of weird that, to me, Labour are just left, and then there's a really left, and there's sort of right of left. But meanwhile, Dan, I think your point is really good, that all of this is distracting from the real work we have. Like, as you know, Dan, I'm an entrepreneur, so I have my bias. I think that economies are really important. Now, none of the top five people who run Labour have ever run a business. And the economy is everything, because the NHS is driven by the economy. The policing is driven by the economy. So everything that keeps us safe, our defense, is driven by the economy. So the economy is the engine of everything. And while all of this distraction and brinkmanship is going on and infighting, the economy is getting worse and worse. Everyone's getting poorer and poorer. In the end, what will happen, Dan, is Labour voters will turn on them. Because what happens, no matter how far left you are, if you can't afford to heat or eat or live, then in the end you go, well, I've got no money, so I'll vote for someone who can help me have some money. And so I believe Labour will just implode. I hope they'll implode.
Well, it was interesting, Rob. I was looking at your post about Rishi Sunak's prediction, right? And look, I don't hold much personal stock in Sunak, but I think in this case he was proven to be right. So you posted, Starmer will wreck Britain in 100 days. That was Rishi's warning. So far, Starmer has U-turned on key pledges, raised the tax burden, shaken business and investor confidence, gone soft on illegal migration, said little on enterprise or wealth creation, watched boat crossing surge, let public debt spiral, release prisoners early, dropped to a negative 30 approval rating. And this was the Mail front page at the time, Rob, when Rishi Sunak made that warning. And look, I never thought, by the way, I never thought that Starmer was going to do anything other than ruin the country. But at the same time, Rob, it was very, very difficult for people to hold their nose. And I couldn't hold my nose and vote for the Conservatives again. I couldn't. So unfortunately, we're maybe in a case where things have to get really bad before they get better at all. And that is going to be painful.
I mean, that's quite a CV for your first year in power, isn't it?
Well done. Well done, Starmer.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree with you. I think that Labour got in mostly because we were so upset with what Conservatives had become. So actually, they had a really good opportunity because even people who aren't generally Labour voters were prepared to give them a chance because, you know, a change is as good as the rest and something new has to be better. And it hasn't taken them long to really mess things up, like on another level. You know, there's no confidence really from anyone. And I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, I probably shouldn't lay out my political leaning. But, you know, I think reform probably are our best option right now to get us out of this.
Yeah, and You've been inside Reform UK HQ, Rob, and you've interviewed Nigel Farage and Zia Yusuf multiple times on your hit podcast, The Disruptors. Do you think they're on the right track? Because you know someone like me is like, oh gosh, that they're moving to the centre. I don't like it. But do you think there's a method to the madness?
Well, I know Nigel very well, and I think he's got strength in leadership that you know, maybe other current leaders haven't, which I think is important. Obviously, the problem with politics is it's kind of a popularity contest. So I think Nigel probably is more pro-business. He is more pro-low tax. He is more, I think he would be tougher on crime. Obviously, he's a fan of Giuliani. So I think all the right signs are there. Yeah, I don't think he's centre.
Yeah, I certainly hope not. But it's just some of the things he's saying at the moment worry me. I'm not going to lie about that. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.